I want to say welcome on behalf of the Alumni Association. My name is Tucker Sappington, and I am the Assistant Director over Special Programs Outreach for the Alumni Association. If you're joining us today, it's because you have been sought out as a student or faculty or staff member who could definitely gain some insight or knowledge from our speaker's experience. And I want to say that you're welcome to being a part of this. The Alumni Association is very lucky to have participation with so many different departments on campus that allow us to do this. It is a chance for us to kind of show what this institution can do for you as a student moving forward with these people who have done so much with their careers after leaving being a part of this institution. I do want to say a special thank you and shout out to our sponsors for all of our Zoom and Learns. That is the UL Lafayette Federal Credit Union. Without their amazing sponsorship and work with us, we would not be able to make this happen as we often do. For those of you who are participating for the first time, thank you. This is our first Zoom and Learn as opposed to what would normally be a lunch and learn. So I apologize that I'm not able to send you some jambalaya or some gumbo right now to eat while we do this, but I do appreciate you being on here with us. All right, so let's get started. Once again, if you're just now joining us as a student, please do me a favor, change your name in your screen to your name hyphen your major so our speaker can recognize you later. As we continue to progress, I ask that you, if you have any questions as a student, please put them in the chat box right now for our speaker or as we go along. And at the end, when we get ready to ask questions, I'll unmute you so you can ask those questions to our speaker. So without further ado, though, I'm going to introduce a really good friend of mine who is a personal mentor and friend that I really love and appreciate a lot, is Kathy Rosenberg, who is our director of office. She's from the Office of Development, and she is one of the directors of our regional development program. So Kathy has been going around the world for a while, or in the United States, at least locally, and helping us, get some money for what we do here at the institution. But more importantly, she also has some great relationships in this community, and one in particular being that with our speaker today. And so Kathy, I'm gonna throw it over to you to get started, so I'm gonna let you roll with it, all right?
Yes, thank you so much, Tucker. And hi, everybody. I'm glad you could join us. For the first Zoom and Learn, we're particularly thrilled to have Cherie Hebert here today. Cherie Hebert is a 1989 graduate of USL with a Bachelor of Arts degree and a concentration in advertising design. She's the CEO of BBR Creative, a creative marketing agency that specializes in helping businesses define their brands and grow their business. Cherie founded BBR in 1997 with two other USL grads, Kathy Pavi and Sarah Ashe. As a team, they have helped over 650 clients build their brands and grow their business. Cherie leads a team of 20+ marketing specialists that serve clients in healthcare, food and beverage, financial, and education sectors. BBR specializes in strategic marketing, creative design services, copywriting, digital marketing, and performance management. They work for major area brands in the region that you'll recognize: Lafayette General Health, Tabasco Country Store, Cajun Country Rice, La Capital Credit Union, Louisiana Department of Transportation, and Cane River Pecan Company. Cherie is married with 2 children. Jacob Goche lives in Atlanta with his 5 children and wife. Jamie Hebert is a fellow marketer who works for Moncus Park here in Lafayette. Cherie is a native of Empire, Louisiana, has lived in Acadiana for 35 years and resides currently in Carencro with her husband, Jimmy. She loves traveling, cooking, and spending time with her family. Welcome, and thank you, Cherie.
Wow, that was nice. That was a lot of nice stuff. Thank you. So it just doesn't, even though I'm old, it doesn't feel like that long ago that I was at the time, USL, and studying advertising design in the art department. And we were segmented at that time, right, from the marketing department and from the communications department, which is still happening today. And so I really didn't come in contact with those other departments very much when I was in school. One of the things, I know that the professor at the time, they said, well, you could always audit a class in the marketing department if you're interested in marketing, and even though you're a designer. And at the time when I went to school, I was a single mother with a little kid. And I was like, there's no way I had time to audit classes because I had to get in there and get my degree and get out and go to work. And so most of the things that I've learned about marketing over the years has been on the job training, even though I had a gift for design work. So as Kathy told you, I am the owner of BBR Creative, and we have been in business for 23 years now. And the thing I'm most proud of is building a team of people who are great marketers, right? And we hire people from all three of those divisions at UL. And today I have invited two of our key people, Lauren Bourgeois and Bria Wheeler, to join me and to give you a tour of the agency and to talk to you about what they do there and how we're set up. So BBR began as a creative design shop. And what that really means is we just design pretty stuff, right? We design things for clients. We did logos and we designed brochures. And back then print was a big deal. So we were doing a lot of design work and print work. And I would say we were really creatively focused. We were like that arm that you would call if you needed like brochures done. As the years progressed, we added on more folks in different disciplines because the clients needed that kind of work. So the first service we added on after creative services was probably media buying services. Some of you might know Monica Hebert because she teaches in the marketing department. I guess she teaches in the communications department, right? And teaches a media class, media buying class. Well, Monica's been working with me. I've been working with Monica for at least 19, 20 years. And she brought on media buying as a service to BBR, and we offer that service to clients today. The next service that was brought on after media buying was probably PR. So we started offering more public relations type services, doing press releases, doing events, getting people picked up in the media. And that was probably the next service that was brought on. Eventually, because creative services was the mainstay and was the foundational piece, at that point at the beginning, not only did we do print, but we also did video, radio, concept for TV. So it was a lot of the creative messaging piece. Later on, we really got into strategy and offering marketing strategy. And I have to confess that as a young marketer, when I started, I really didn't know anything about marketing strategy. I was completely winging it. I didn't really know what the proper way to create a marketing plan was. And then I discovered there was no proper way, that you could actually create marketing plans a lot of different ways. And so we started becoming more of strategy focused and giving clients the big picture of what they should do to market themselves. Then I hired people who knew more than I did to do that job, which has been great. After the strategy piece came on board, then I would say the next big evolution was the evolution of digital marketing, digital media, okay? So digital marketing today, guys, is like a big must know in the world, right? So we do digital marketing, and when I mean digital marketing, I think Lauren and Bria are going to talk to you a little bit more when they give you a tour of the building, and they can talk to you a little bit more about the different roles people have and what we do in the wake of digital marketing. I remember it wasn't that long ago that we did a whole lot more print work. You know, people were in magazines, advertisements were in magazines, and you know, using outdoor and things like that. And now we really are digitally focused. We focus on digital first as a means of communication. So the whole, that whole addition really happened in the last 7 years, I would say, that we became stronger digital marketing strategists. We as a business serve, as Kathy told you, we've served over 650 clients easy within this whole region. We've had some national clients. As a agency in Lafayette, Kathy and Sarah and I all had degrees from the art department, and we were designers first. But I have to tell you, we were young women who had families and children. And because we were raising families and trying to grow a business, we decided to grow the best business we could here in Lafayette and Acadiana versus leaving the market. Because Sarah and I in particular, we have 6 daughters between the 3 of us. And because we were very focused on how do we create a job that we're fulfilled at and do great work that we can be proud of and raise our families, we felt the best way to do that was here. And the professor at the time in the art department was a guy named Dutch Kepler, who was very, very tough on the students and made it difficult for you to get through that department. He was, but I really appreciate everything I learned from him because he made us aspire to have the highest standards possible. I'm proud to say that BBR has produced nationally acclaimed work through all of these years in business. We have worked for national brands, Johnson & Johnson, a drug called Procrit, we nationally marketed that. We've worked for Belfor, which is the nation's largest disaster recovery company. The most recent campaign that's national based is the Cox Connect to Compete campaign, which is a campaign that encourages families to apply to get for low income folks to have access to internet services. And we actually did all of the creative for that campaign to be used nationally. So it was always my personal objective that when you go to our website or you look at our work, you can't distinguish between our work and nationally produced work from large ad agencies in other parts of the country. And we have been successful at that, and I'm immensely proud of that. And keeping up that standard is something I care a lot about. So Kathy and Sarah have both since left BBR. Kathy is actually doing more of her design work and still working in the branding field. And Sarah has decided to retire. We've been at this a long time. I still love this business and am passionate about it. And I'm still leading the team on Rue Bourgeois. So today, you can't be with us at our agency, but Lauren Bourgeois is going to tell you a little bit about herself. And Bria Wheeler is going to tell you a little bit about herself, and they're going to take you on a physical tour of our building while telling you about the services we provide. Lauren, do you want to go first?
Yes, thank you, Cherie. I appreciate the introduction. And hello to everyone. I've kind of been popping around and looking at your names and your majors, and it looks like we have a pretty good mix from the 3 different concentrations, so that's great to see. As Cherie and Tucker have mentioned, I am a graduate from ULL. I graduated in mass communications with an advertising focus in 2008. And since then, I've been working in some capacity in advertising agencies. I started my career with an internship, as many of you are probably working internships currently. But you know, as your skill and your internships progress, your opportunity progresses, and I found myself at BBR Creative in 2011. So I've been here about 9 years, and my role has changed a little bit as my tenure has changed. But I started out with BBR in an account management role, primarily working on a single campaign and really managing the aspects of that single campaign, from taking what was concepted and what the design and the messaging was going to be, and then producing it through to be ready to run in media. And I worked as an account manager for about 2 years here, and at that point saw some growth, and the partners gave me an opportunity to step into a role where I was doing higher level production management and project management, and overseeing a team of project managers as well. Now, whenever I talk about my role, I say that it's not exactly a role that you learned about in college, but it is an integral role to any ad agency, internal marketing team, or any other industry that produces its own service, for itself and for its clients. My role now is in the VP of Operations, and I still oversee our team of project managers. And our main responsibility is managing the workflow of all of that work that Cherie mentioned. At any given time, we are working for about 20 to 30 clients potentially, and in some capacity, it's different for everyone. But we look at the scope of that work. We determine what the costs are going to be associated with it based on the client's budgets. We look at the resources it's going to take to produce that work, both our internal resources and any vendor resources we might need as well, photographers, videographers, printers, any other freelance talent that we might need to tap. And we see to getting it done. We're the ones that are checking the boxes and checking the calendars and making sure that it's going to be produced and a quality product and something that will get out on time and on budget. Other aspects of my job here at BBR is in operations and some of the management of the business. I work pretty closely alongside with Cherie and one of our other high-level managers to oversee a lot of our special projects that we usually have going on. We'll talk a little bit more about some of those things later, but it's definitely been a growing role that I've had at BBR, and it's wonderful to see where I was just about 12 years ago, where you guys are at, and knowing that communications has changed so much and agencies have changed so much, but there's still just wonderful talent coming up, and that's why I'm so happy to speak with y'all today. And I'll pop it over to Bria. Bria's got a great story too, another Raging Cajun alum.
Awesome, thanks, Lauren. Hi everyone, great to see y'all today. My name is Bria Wheeler, as everyone has mentioned. I'm the Account Service Director at BBR Creative. So my story is somewhat similar to Lauren's, but a little bit different. I'm from Shreveport originally, born and raised. All my friends were going to LSU, so I decided to do something a little bit different. I came to visit a friend in Lafayette and thought it was a really fun city and figured it'd be a great place to go to school. So I moved down here when I was 17 to start at UL. I started in biology, thought I was going to go to dental school and become an orthodontist. So that was my original life path. About 2 years into that, I realized that while my grades were fine and I was doing well, it just wasn't where my heart was. So I changed my major a handful of times, really just looking for something that fit and something that I felt like was where my passion would be and a good opportunity for me to invest time and really make a path for my career. So after I went through, I actually changed to marketing for a couple semesters. I changed to engineering for a while. And then I found myself in the College of Liberal Arts studying public relations. So I did that, obviously, to finish my degree at UL, graduated in 2013 with a PR degree. And while I was in school, someone told me about BBR Creative. And they said, if you're looking for an internship and you want a place to work, this is one of the greatest places in Lafayette that you can go to work. And so made it my personal mission to get an internship at BBR, which they were, gracious enough to grant me at the time when I had no idea what I was doing, didn't know the first thing about PR, didn't know the first thing about marketing or advertising or communications. So I started here really not having a clue what the agency did or much about the industry as a whole. And the team here really just took me under their wing and really helped me grow and learn about how this industry works and the beauty and power of what we do as professionals. So when I graduated from UL in 2013, I just lucked out and they were offering a full-time position at BBR as an account service manager. And so I joined their team and started assisting in account management. And then over the years, worked my way up to where I am now as the account service director. And during that time, I actually went back to school at UL to get my master's degree. So I have a liberal arts PR degree as well as a degree from the College of Business, got my MBA. And for me, that was really important because I felt like I had a great foundation of communications and how to, really formulate solid marketing plans and things like that. But I really wanted to understand the business aspect as well, because I felt like that would help me better lead and coach my clients here at BBR. So I reinvested in education at UL, and I'm really grateful that I did that as well. So like Lauren was saying, I work with her a lot and her team in terms of managing projects, but the majority of what I do is I'm really the liaison for my assigned client accounts between the agency and their companies. So the great thing about our clients is they don't have to chase down different people within the agency for what they need. They have one person they call. They work with me directly. I talk to all my clients almost daily, and I'm really working with them from the highest level of budget planning, account planning, marketing planning, advertising planning, down to the minutia of when a certain ad has to be due to a publication to run on time, or when we need to get files into a printer to be sure they have materials in hand by the time they need them. So I'm really kind of the right-hand man for my clients and assist all of that for the agency. And so it's been an interesting experience for me. It's funny to think back where I was as a 17, 18-year-old in college trying to figure out my life and what I wanted to do. I had these grand plans that I was, okay, I'm going to go to Lafayette, I'm going to get my undergrad degree, and then I'm going to move somewhere crazy. I'm going to go to Austin, or I'm going to go to San Francisco or New York City. And what I found really, as I lived in Lafayette longer and as I interned at BBR and as I got my first job here, was that I really love this place. To me, there's nothing like Lafayette. There's nothing like the people. There's nothing like the food, for sure. And so, it really was somewhere that I really wanted to put down some roots. And so for me, I was one of those people that thought I had to move somewhere crazy to get an awesome company culture and to have a great job and to have some great success and have exposure to things. And that's really not true. I think, if you really just follow your passion and you invest in making sure you're growing in the direction and the ways you want to as an individual, it doesn't matter physically where you're at to be able to do that, especially now. There's 30 of us on this call, all in different locations. We could be across the world from one another and be having a conversation that way. So for me, I decided to stay. I still love to travel. I still love to expose myself to different cultures and cuisines and places and things like that. But I'm really grateful that I was able to really make this community a place that I was able to call home. So I'm really excited to start our tour around the office today. I'm going to go meet up with Lauren this direction. And so I'll bring y'all with me.
Everything that you were saying, which was great, reminded me of something very simple that I'd like to communicate before you two take them on a tour.
Sure.
We get lots of interns that come in, and I just want to make sure you guys as a group kind of know what an ad agency does, because you're probably, you might have a preconceived idea of what we do over here. And I know we say we provide graphic services and digital. Ultimately, our clients are marketing directors at big businesses, at bigger businesses like Lafayette General or Cox or folks like that. And they have a marketing director on staff who needs help implementing a marketing campaign. Or we do work for smaller businesses that may be startups that the owner themselves is actually doing the marketing, or they're just getting going, okay? And so basically they come to us because they don't know how to begin marketing. And marketing is an umbrella term for a lot of different disciplines, right? So when you do marketing, you're actually underneath that, you're handling branding, web development, advertising, design, all those other disciplines fall under that umbrella. Well, we kind of do a select group of those marketing activities, and we help our clients by putting plans together to help them achieve business objectives. So I just want you to understand this is a business that helps businesses grow, right? So our primary job is to help other businesses grow and be successful. And when we talk about servicing clients, Bria has clients, we have 3 different teams that do this kind of work. But in the very simplest of form, we're doing lots of different marketing activities to help our clients' businesses grow. And like Lauren said, we at any given time have 30 active clients and probably 100 active projects. So that, I just wanted to make sure I communicated that. Go ahead, Bria. Unless we lost it.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, we are outside. This is the front space of our office. We're here at 300 Rue Beauregard. I feel like I'm a newscaster now. Collie Slim is that way and Pinhook is that way, just to kind of give you a little bit of geography in the city, but you have to come on in the front door. All right. So our office space looks a little different these days because we don't have all of the usual smiling faces that we love so much, but everybody's hard at work at home, and we've really adjusted really well to working from home as a team. Luckily, we were in a position where we were all able to walk out the door when we needed to and bring our laptops home and stay safe and stay with our families. And it really was a good time for us to say, you know what, this is something that we can do. And we've stayed pretty flexible through this quarantine period. And we'll still have some people come in from time to time for some important meetings, maybe with a client or whatnot. And we stay really safe whenever we're here in the office. So Bria and I are going to keep our distance from each other. So this is our front lobby area. We've got kind of welcome and reception here. This piece up at the top was designed by one of our former designers and another UL alum, Bert Duran. It says creativity is when curiosity meets commitment. And if there's 2 things that you say about people at BBR, it's that everyone is creative and everyone is committed for sure. If you've got that spirit, you're the kind of person that we would love to meet, hang out with, you know, chat with, hopefully work with, something like that. So we'll bring you into, this is our main conference room. So this is kind of the area where our teams would meet, or we'd meet with clients, or have large brainstorm sessions, or whatnot for during the day. So we've used this space for fun activities as well. On Friday afternoons, we have the last hour of the day dedicated to Unplugged, which is everybody grabs a beverage of their choice, and we come together just as a team at the end of the week just to kind of hang out, chit chat, watch goofy videos, look at cool creative work that has come out of either our shop or just the industry. Maybe looking at some of the fun, cool stuff that our clients are doing that we just don't all have exposure to during the day. So Unplugged has been another thing that's transitioned since we've been home, but we still do it virtually. Everybody still grabs their beverage of choice for sure. So, comfort of home. So this is our conference space. Our office is a big old square, so we're going to go this way and then that way. So each of our fixed teams, as Cherie's kind of talking about, is led by one of our AEs. And as we're coming around to this side of the office, on this side is kind of where our account teams are placed and where they do all of their hard work every day, working with our clients. We have Cherie's office through here. So Cherie is working from home today. Cherie is where she would be. And we'll hit the account service team offices in a second. I do want to call out here, we've got these 4 prints, and you may have seen these prints or some of this messaging. Try to show you each one on our social media channels if you follow along.
these prints are our 4 values of the agency. A couple of years ago, I mean, the founding partners have always had some of these statements that have just always really resonated and have maintained their integrity through the life of the business. And a few years ago, we really locked down on what our values are as an agency. And then we went about adding them into our physical space, adding them into a lot of our employee onboarding and things that we do for peer-to-peer recognition and our performance reviews, things like that. A few years ago, whenever we kind of locked them in, our creative team had this really fun photo shoot and they got to play with food. All of these prints, maybe you can zoom
See if
out
I can
of
do a
them.
close up on some of these.
All of these prints are actually food that has been styled and then photographed to look like the lettering. So this looks like a bunch of Photoshop work, but it's actually not. It is hand styled food. It's really cool. So our 4
Getting the glare,
values,
sorry.
Our 4 values are be a decent human being. Our clients are our partners. We figure it out, and we are always engaged, inspired, and innovative. This is something that we all kind of live and breathe every day. So coming on through, as I mentioned, we've got kind of some offices on this side that belong to our account team.
I'll take you in my office just so you can see where I was before. So here's my space. Something I think is really fun about our office, because we are a creative agency, we get to decorate it to our heart's desire. So some of us have our own artwork, our own posters and things that are meaningful to us. And so, yeah, everybody's space is a little unique, a little different, a little empty today, but you know, that's COVID for you right now.
They come around. Our break kitchen, also kind of a little meeting space from time to time. We are always working hard and have a lot of different groups that need to get together and chat. So we use this as a little meeting space. Lots of good snacks in that closet. And then back through here is our main area where a lot of our creative production and a lot of our big meetings as an agency happen. This is our central credenza. Pre-COVID, of course, we would meet here every single Monday morning as a team, no fail. And we talk about what was going on for the week. All of the production for each of the projects gets discussed around this table. And whenever we have a little bit more life in here, there's usually a ton of layouts, and there's, you know, people working on the mounting machine here. We've got people with an X-Acto knife. And there's a lot that happens around this table, but mostly we share a lot and enjoy each other. And here are several of the spaces that belong to our designers. Some of our digital marketing team members sit back here as well. And each of them are also a little personalized, and they really enjoy this kind of space here.
Show you some fun trinkets.
So this is the space of Blake Lanyo, our creative director. He's definitely put his little touch on it. Let's see, so we've got another meeting space through here. We call this room the beanbag room because we used to have some big giant beanbags in here that were like great to kind of plop down on if you wanted to read for a bit or do some thinking or drawing. But we got rid of the beanbags along the way, but the name beanbag room really stuck. We haven't changed it since we got rid of the beanbags. But another great meeting space or larger office if 2 or more people need to kind of jump in together and stay socially distant.
Yeah, so as y'all can tell, even though we're doing it virtually and remotely right now, a lot of our work is very collaborative in nature. So we have writers and we have designers and we have digital marketers and account service people and production managers and media buyers. And so all of these different disciplines really have to come together, like Cherie said earlier, to develop and execute these mass marketing and advertising strategies. And so it's really important for us as a business and to service our clients that we are in constant communication and working together to really make sure we're recommending the right things at the right times to meet our clients' needs and help them reach their goals.
For sure. One other thing that, this office brings a lot of memories, because that's kind of what we have most of these days now in this office is memories. But one big event that we are really looking forward to doing again in a couple of weeks, and something that we hosted for the first time last year, was our Create-a-thon event. And this is a 24-hour, actually kind of like 28-hour event where it's kind of lock-in style. We stay overnight and we work for 3 different nonprofits. And during that event, during the 28-hour window, we strategize, concept, produce, and deliver any type of campaign assets that they have a need for. And it's a really awesome activity where we can just be creative for a nonprofit that wouldn't normally be able to work with us. And we get to have a lot of fun in the meantime and getting it delivered. So we're working on that event again for this year, and we're probably gonna have to host it off-site this year, so we can have a little bit more space from each other. It's gonna be a little crazy in here if we have all 22 of us back in this space, but this room definitely holds that memory for me because I spent a lot of time in that room last year for Create-a-thon.
Cherie, you had to.
How many? Last year, we produced over 100 pieces of work for when we did it for the 3 nonprofits last year. But who are our nonprofits this year? Would you like to tell everybody?
So our nonprofits this year are the Baton Rouge Blues Foundation, Arch, and Boys and Girls Club of Acadiana. So we're really excited to get things kicked off with those 3 nonprofits. We're starting to kind of end the event too. So
Yeah,
it should be something fun to follow along on social.
it's important for us for that event, especially to support different areas of nonprofits we believe in. So, we do have more of the kids support with one of our nonprofits. We're supporting the Acadiana Regional Coalition of Homelessness and Housing because we're passionate about that as well. And then the arts and culture from Baton Rouge. And if y'all didn't know, we do have a remote office in Baton Rouge. And so we wanted to share the love with that market as well.
All right, so let's come out of our main space back here, and we've got a few more office spaces through here that belong to our project managers, our media buyers, and our IT director, who is all of our savior every single day. Then we start coming back around to the front. This is my space, and also a space where our bookkeeper and Cherie kind of have a lot of interaction in my office here. You can hear my laptop. And then we come back around to the front. I can give a little call out to our little wall here. These are some of our past employees of the year. And I'm looking at this and I want to say at least 5 or 6 of them are all UL alumni. So yeah, we got a good little representation here for sure. So, and we're missing a couple of years. We need to get some new pictures up on the wall.
Yeah. Tucker, I'm seeing some questions come in. Do you want to hop to the chat?
Yeah, I was wondering if y'all wanted to jump into that. I'm gonna try to pick and go throughout them as they come up. And Lauren and Bria, that was awesome. Thank you for walking us around the office, and it looks amazing. And so I would have to say, from my endpoint, like when you look at a place like that, you get to feel that you're in a big city at an amazing large ad agency that you see on television. And guess what? It's right here in Lafayette, and that's a huge credit to Cherie and the other 2 ladies in the past for building what they build. And so mad props to you. But Cherie, you got some questions rolling in here, and I'm going to try to get through a couple of them so that you can go. And I know some people in here have a class at 1, so we're going to try to answer as many as we can. But I think I'm going to start off with Haley. I think you had a question about experience, I think. So Haley, I'm going to unmute you so you can ask the question to them, okay?
Okay, so my question is, many of us, I know I have a year left in my master's degree, and one of my biggest concerns is as I'm going to start applying for jobs, so many of them ask for 4 to 5 years of experience that I just don't have, being as I've been in school this whole time. So what's some advice you can give us to make us more marketable despite not having those years of experience?
Well, Haley, I think that I think internships are hugely important, and I have to, and I'm not downplaying UL in any way, but I have to tell you, one thing I noticed that the LSU students, or I don't know if they really force them to do more internships or what, but they seem to have stronger internship backgrounds, and maybe there's not as many opportunities in Lafayette. That might be it. But let me just say that if you can't find an internship, then I would suggest you even reach out to nonprofits, because some folks might not have a formal internship program, but you can reach out to an organization that you're interested in, offer your service up, okay? So you can build some real life experience. So if you're good at social media and you want to contact United Way and say, I'd love to work for you guys for a semester as a non-paid intern even, because those little nuggets of time that you work in a real world environment are going to be highly considered on your resume. I remember when I hired Mallory Joseph right out of college, I hired her based on her internship experience, not on her education. Because when I looked at her experience, even though they were short segments, she had done enough, she had done some work that was almost could apply as real world. So if I had to give you guys some, and look, there's nobody who knows better than I do how difficult it is to take a non-paid internship. I told y'all I was a single parent going through college. I had a child while I worked my way through college. And I have to tell you, I had only a limited amount of time, right? So I understand that. But if you're trying to boost your resume in order to get the job you want, it's almost critical that you do some of that.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Cherie, for that. We're going to move on. I'm just trying to catch them as I see them. I'm sorry, y'all. Blade, I think you had a question about some portfolios, actually. Let me see. Let's see here. There you go.
Yeah, I'm actually in a portfolio class right now, and one of the questions I had, we're kind of compiling most of our work, if not all of our work, from the past couple of years of classes where we had to use for, say, for example, I'm in another strategic communication class where we're working with a nonprofit, and just little projects we've done throughout the year. So what really stands out in a portfolio as like a student, maybe someone entering an entry-level job for you guys?
Well, I want to say two things about that, Blade. Number one, the one thing I want to say is people are more accessible than you might think. This is a general statement to all of you. Professional people still want to help. Everybody wants to help somebody else at some level. We all get a lot of, we get a lot of feel good about ourselves when we help another person. Do not be shy about reaching out to professionals you see in the marketplace, like other designers, creative directors, writers, and say, I am admiring your work or the work you do at this, whatever agency it is. Would you spend a few minutes? Could you have coffee with me? Could you mentor me? Could you ask some questions of me? Don't hesitate to do that, because I think, and look, the only reason you're going to get rejected is because they're busy, but it's not because they don't have the desire to help. I say that, Blade, because if you have a portfolio you want another creative person to look at, you have to be a little vulnerable to do that, because when you're going to creative, that's like your baby. Please feel free to reach out to a designer locally that you admire to help look at it. But as an agency, I must say that when we look at the creative in a portfolio, we are always looking at the idea. And when I say the idea, it's like the messaging idea that compels to action. What is the single most persuasive idea that this piece or this campaign could do? And also, as creatives, I want to challenge you, the folks in this call that are the creatives, make sure that you understand the business objective of the creative work you're doing. Like, you're not just making a pretty piece, you're trying to compel them to do something. And so when a creative person talks to me about their work, I want to first look at it and say, it's well produced, it's got a good idea behind it, and it achieves an objective. Those are the three criteria that I hope that you aim for.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Jenna, I think you have a question about some advice. Let's see here. You there?
Yes, right here. My question, like being in business for so many years, what would be like one piece of advice that you would be beneficial to someone just starting out like in business, whether it be entry-level jobs or anything like that?
Well, I think that internship idea that I talked about earlier, that experience idea, because it's a catch-22 when you're first starting out, right? People are listing, posting jobs and saying.
My advice for that is, yes, once you get into those relationships, you make that contact with people, you get into your starting job, you get into your internship, show the initiative. And there's part of being an entry-level employee that is kind of, I need to do what I'm told to do. But if you find yourself willing to do more and wanting to learn more, ask for it. Showing that initiative is really where we see the star students become the star employees very quickly.
I want to also say something else, Jenna, and I'm not trying to do ageism because I'm much, much older than all of you. But guess what? This is a young people business. Advertising, design, and marketing and communications in general, there's a lot of young people because they're the folks who know what's going on in the world and can relate and communicate concepts and ideas that's relative to the world at the time. So I am the oldest person at BBR, right? And I still love a good idea, but I still don't know about a lot of culture, common culture right now. But there's one thing I do know, and that I hope that I can tell you guys. You guys are from a totally different generation than me, and it's a lot of phone, which I'm addicted to, okay? I'm addicted to my phone just like everybody else. But I gotta tell you, there's nothing that substitutes for in-person conversations and one-on-one interactivity with other people. And it's not about just a text message. It's not about, even these Zoom calls are not as personal as we would want them to be, right? But they're closer, I guess. So I just want to tell you guys to try to get in front of other people who do the thing you want to do, and try to aspire, get a mentor of some sort, look up to somebody, have somebody that you think's doing better than you are and where you want to be, and reach out to them and ask them to meet you in person and spend some time with personal interaction and not just email and texting, because you will build a stronger and longer relationship that way and learn more.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Let's see here. Holly, communication, I think you got a couple of them, so I'll let you throw a few of them out.
Hi guys. So actually a lot of my questions that were addressed have been already answered, so I will not kind of go back over that, but there is one that I'd like to ask, and that is, what is the most difficult situation you have been in when responding to a media and public inquiries, and how did you handle it?
Wow, that's a hard one. So let me first say, and then I'll let Lauren or Bria, y'all be thinking, right? Holly, we are not, even though I told you earlier that we offered PR as a service, we do as it relates to an addition to campaign work, if that makes sense. It's like the creative, I like to say we do the creative part of PR. But when it comes to being really like in the category of a PR agency, I would not put us in that category. We don't do crisis communications. We do very little traditional PR that you're learning in school. So I think I would have to defer to a PR firm. In fact, if somebody calls me, like I'll give you one example, Frank's Casing Crew years ago, and I think it's okay for me to say this because they were in the news about it. They got in some trouble for sexual harassment, and they have they had no PR communications department, and they reached out to us because we were a woman-owned firm, and I think they wanted like a female-owned firm to talk about this issue, right? And so we actually had, at the time, I had a PR director who kind of handled like advising them on the way that they should communicate about things that HR changes they were going to make within the organization and things like that. But it was after that experience that I said, you know what, guys, this is not really our thing because we don't have a strong background in it. So we kind of defer crisis communications to, we have a partner in New Orleans, Devaney Communications, that I respect a lot. I refer a lot of crisis communication to them. But there are issues every day, as you can imagine, with corporations whether it's sexual harassment, look what just happened with Acadian Ambulance. It's a perfect example, right? When Jamie Bourgeois, who's a local celebrity, basically, when he posted some, really, it wasn't smart. It wasn't a smart move. And I'd like to talk about that for 1 minute, because he posted like something like Black Lives Splatter or something. I don't know. It was some crazy thing. Well, Acadian Ambulance's brand said, I'm sorry, we don't support that, and we don't support the fact that you represent us and you said that. So and I'm sure, I see Andre Williams was on this call, and I know he and I talked about this before. Brands today are very mindful of what their employees do and say about them, but we're not actually positioning ourselves as a firm that's going to help them out of that jam. Mm-hmm. So that's why I can't answer that question too well.
Okay, well, I think you pretty much, you covered everything that I needed to be covered, so I appreciate it.
Okay.
Excellent. Teresa asked Cherie, can you talk a little bit more about digital marketing and what specific types of digital marketing you do at BBR?
Hey, Bria, would you take this one?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. So the majority of digital marketing that we do as an agency is related to just overall brand company marketing and campaign marketing. So there's quite a few different channels and platforms that come into play in terms of running ads. A lot of what we do is through the Google Ad Network. So that's things like strategizing, developing, and launching and running things like paid search ads on Google and Bing, display, which are like banner ads across different websites online, video ads through YouTube for the videos you see that play before the video you really want to watch on YouTube, things that are like in context on web pages, any social media advertising. So for the main channels that we work with are typically Facebook for your regular just static graphic ads, video ads, story ads, social media in terms of Instagram. So this could be for paid placement or for organic. We also do social media management for our clients on the more organic side. We do a variety of different things in that wheelhouse. Historically, we have employed like web developers and things, but we don't really do that as much. So that's a good kind of clarification point as well, that development is different than digital marketing. And so what we do more of is the digital marketing side of things. The other thing that I think we see a lot of gap in, so if anybody kind of has a knack and an interest in digital marketing, I would say there are free certifications and programs through Google for like Google Ad certification, learning about Google Analytics, tracking, all that kind of stuff. So how we track activity through different digital media placements and how people interact with your website and landing pages and things like that. That's really the direction this whole industry is going. So like Cherie said earlier, we definitely still place ads in magazines and newspapers and on TV, but even TV now, everybody's streaming. A lot of people don't even have cable buys anymore at their houses. So that's when we look at things like OTT, which is over the top. So even your more traditional mediums are starting to move towards the digital space as well. Did that answer your question?
We also, I just want to throw two things in. LinkedIn is also a platform from a B2B world. Is the more you know about the use of LinkedIn, you can actually develop a specialty on how to use LinkedIn for businesses to reach businesses. And another, even though we mostly do consumer work at BBR, but we do some B2B as well. And then the other thing is email marketing. So email marketing as a strategy, and, you know, as just knowing a lot about how to put nurturing campaigns together and using email marketing is another important piece of digital marketing. But Bria is really great at strategy and understanding and performance management. Every client that we deal with, they're interested in the performance of the campaign, and therefore with digital, you can really track that.
Excellent. Well, look, I think we have time for one more question from a student before we start our wrap up. Go with Elijah. I know you got a couple quick ones specifically related to the world we're in today.
Awesome. Hey everyone. This one might be geared a little more towards Bria as well. Bria, I'm from the Shreveport area too, a transplant to Lafayette. But I just want to know, how has COVID-19 changed the strategy there in the agency for your campaigns? You know, has the switch to what we call the Zoomiverse now made it a little more difficult or easier?
So I'll answer this question kind of from both respects. I've seen the biggest change. Number one is just client relations. So a lot of what I used to do in terms of managing relationships with my clients was phone or email or in-person meeting in their office. Now, the kind of crazy thing that's happened with COVID is I actually see my clients more, because instead of picking up the phone or sending a quick email, we hop on a Zoom or we hop on a Google Hangout. So a lot of what we're doing is actually more face-to-face now, but just in a virtual setting, which has kind of been a nice way to build those relationships, but kind of in a weird way as well. In terms of the marketing and advertising strategy of things, I think the biggest change that I've seen is the need to be a lot more nimble and quick with changes. I have a lot of healthcare clients and a lot of clients in retail, and the things that we've seen are on the retail e-commerce side for a while, and even still now in the projections for the rest of the years, that everyone's buying everything online. So we've had to ramp up our marketing and advertising and really make sure we're on top of their website so that if things break, we're getting them fixed quickly and stuff like that. And then obviously from a healthcare standpoint, that's all just been insane for the last 6 months. So in terms of communication around safety requirements and visitor restrictions at hospitals, and trying to move all of your marketing from going to a hospital or an urgent care or a doctor's office to now telemedicine. You know, we're doing everything through Zoom. Well, doctors are trying to do everything through telemedicine apps now. So it's been a really interesting and rapid development of things that I think otherwise probably would have taken years for some of these industries to transform. They've had to do it in the matter of months. So it's been a wild ride. It's been a really busy few months, but it's been really interesting to kind of see this human experiment play out.
And I know we're almost time up, but I do want to say this miraculously to no one. I mean, I'm as surprised as anybody, because in March, when we were all like had to go home, I really didn't know what that was going to look like for the agency. And I kept imagining at the beginning all of our clients disappearing. And I was thinking, holy cow, how am I going to keep this business running? But miraculously, guys, everybody has a need to communicate, okay? And the clients that we had already had even heightened reason to communicate. And it's really just been a blessing, right? Because we ended up with a large healthcare system who had to communicate telemedicine needs. We ended up with a rice company that couldn't keep rice on the shelf because everybody was cooking rice. We ended up with a drop in mortgage interest rates. So the company we represented for mortgages needed to market mortgages, and were able to do so. So then we got new clients that came out, that surfaced in the middle of COVID for need that wasn't identified prior to COVID. Like one client of ours deals in respirators and things like that, okay? So it was like this shift in like new kind of clients with new kinds of needs that happened as a result of COVID. So that was just we're just thankful about that.
Excellent. As we come to a close here, Cherie, I wanted to kind of take a brief minute here and say, is there anything you want to add as a final thought to everyone that's on the call right now, or any great pieces of advice that maybe we didn't cover today?
I was just looking at my notes because we had made some notes ahead of time, and I think that the message that I'd like to leave you all with is that there is opportunity to stay in your state and give back to your state and have a successful career, especially now that we have this whole working remote thing going on. I've even read an article about how big cities are going to suffer because of the COVID pandemic, in that people who live in San Francisco and pay $2,000 for an 800 square foot, apartment or less, are going to find that living in rural Montana is awesome for them for $400 a month, right? So they're going to be able to work from remote places and do things like that. So the world's changing before our very eyes, right? But you can find jobs here. And if you can't find them, you could go create them, okay? If you get to be really good at some particular service, there's lots of networking now where we hire remote workers and where we come together as collaborative teams. And so in the field of marketing communications, there is going to be a lot more opportunity, because in our field, guys, it's conducive to working remotely. It's conducive to building remote and virtual teams. We did not have one problem going home to work because we were already completely computer literate, right? And so you guys have the opportunity to do things in the state of Louisiana and here. And last, I guess I want to reiterate the internship idea and the idea to get yourself in front of other people who can help you mentor you and help you grow. And those would be my closing thoughts. And if anybody has any other things that they would like to email us or questions that they have for us, they're more than welcome to do that.
Excellent, Cherie, amazing. Bria or Lauren, do y'all have an email address that maybe y'all want to put in the chat for all the students on here in case they do have some questions for you? Or Cherie, either one, doesn't matter. If there's just a general one they could email to, that'd be great. I just want to say thank you, Cherie, so very much for being a part of this today. Bria and Lauren, you are amazing tour guides, and KATC and KLFY should get nervous because I'm pretty sure y'all can be on-site reporters like that. So get ready for that. But I want to say on behalf of the Alumni Association, the institution, thank you both. Thank you all for being a part of this. Students, thank you so much for being on here. Amazing questions, by the way, phenomenal questions that are directed at what's happening today in our world, and we really appreciate that. I'm gonna give you a few more minutes for the students, if they see the email addresses that are going up in the chat, to please do so. Copy those down so you have them. But outside of that, we want to say thank you again. Thanks to our sponsor, the Credit Union, the UL Credit Union. Really appreciate it. Cherie and Bria and y'all, if y'all want to stay on after this for just a brief minute, we'll wrap up everything, and Kathy and the rest of the crew, you can do that. But thank y'all so much, students. Y'all can step away and go learn more from UL. Bye, y'all.
Thank y'all. Have a good one.